every now and then Frank Miller ends up in the news again, comics news as it is, as shallow as it is, but ends up in there nonetheless. And recently, for four covers from Marvel, a Thing cover that's to a Fantastic Four comic, Ghost Rider Wolverine cover, so it's Wolverine on the cover, Moon Knight, and Blade. And the covers aren't good. I Even the Moon Knight one is probably the best, but even then, that's shallow. And whatever's going on with Frank Miller behind the scenes for years now, because people have speculated about his health and all this and that. Whatever it may be, if he's getting money from Marvel, good. Screw Marvel. Take him for whatever you can get from him. For as many people as they've screwed over in the past, you know what? Take the money. And it also brought up, I've seen a lot of people, like, oh, he was never good. Or it's like, okay, if you don't like Batman Dark Knight Returns, Strikes Again, sorry. Dark Knight Returns is usually universally praised, usually. But over the past couple years, pretty much since about 2015, 2016 or so, you start seeing people like, oh, Frank Miller was never good. It was never good. Okay, I mean, you can say that. Doesn't make it true, but you could say that. And, I love the fact that people, like, they don't know nothing. Like, Frank Miller's not this, like, oh, he's the right wing. And, like, he's a libertarian who voted for Hillary Clinton. I mean, some say, oh, that's worse than being a right winger. But either way, he's like, guns for hunting, but not for self defense, which is like, okay, you're getting to that political stuff, but Frank Miller stuff is extremely political. And try not to dwell on that too much, but like people done this revisionist take he was never good. But take away Batman. Let's say you didn't like none of his Batman stuff. You still got Daredevil. You still got Elektra. You still got Big Guy and Rusty. You still got Hard Boiled. You still got Sin City. And you got Ronin. And without Ronin, no Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. No Ronin, no Samurai Jack for those who fans of animation. Actually, good animation. It's a good show, and well, I mean, good is being okay, great, but like I'm just saying good, whatever. But Frank Miller gets thrown underneath the bus, and sometimes I get it. I do get it. In this case, I get it. It's like that's that's a variant covers, and they want people to pay extra for, and it's not good covers. I mean, but anybody willing to pay for a variant cover is a sucker anyway. You're a mark. You're going to go out of your way. Oh, well, I want to buy a variant cover because it's variant. We did not learn the lesson of the '90s. We did not learn the lesson of the speculator bubble. But thankfully, the bubble can never really fully burst because it doesn't actually fully inflate. It just goes blah, 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 and then goes back down. Because these people they're marks. They should be trimmed. Oh, you should be advocating for consumers' rights and this and that. No, if you're willing to walk into a lion's den with meat around your neck, you deserve to be eaten. You're that stupid. These people will trim you for every little bit they can get. And so, good for Frank. He can go in there and he can trim these people as well. But regardless of that, if something that you don't like pops up, like, oh, I never want to buy that cover, you don't have to. That's the great thing about it. You don't have to buy it. I mean, if this was the official cover, I was like, oh, that's kind of ugly, going in there. But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your point of view, they don't do that. They don't have. Well, they do. They bring in bigger name artists. They'll throw a Alex Ross cover on a comic with the interior work does not match, or they'll throw J. Scott Campbell cover. Though most of the time, this stuff is variants. You got to pay extra and go to the artist store sometimes, and this, that, whatever. It's just. How about this? Put the interior artist on the cover. If that interior artist sucks, like you don't want to show their work on the cover, maybe get better interior artists. But I mean, that's the trick about these comics nowadays. I mean, look at the interior artist stuff. Frank Miller had to work with. Oh yeah, like people like Bill Sienkiewicz, David Mazzucchelli, John Romita Jr. Especially when you had Al Williamson on the art, the inks. Though technically, I believe that was. I guess at the time I believe that was Klaus Janson doing some of the inks too. But Jeff Darrow, a lot of these people, good stuff. I mean, outside of the Batman stuff, and the first Batman book by Frank Miller I picked up because it was coming out at the time was Dark Knight Strikes Again. Yes, I didn't know what it was. I still kind of find it hard to wrap my head around, but apparently it made such an impression on me. Not only did I pick up the individual issues, which are those 60-page books, and then I picked up the collection down the line. I'm staring at the Batman Noir Dark Knight Strikes Again hardcover, which is all in black and white. Yes, it's very hard to read because there's not much ink in that comic. A lot of it was digitally colored in an age where digital coloring should not have been that wonky, but I don't know. I don't know. It's like you can call it digital painting because what Lynn Varley did for Dark Knight Returns is actually artistic and beautiful, and even up to 300. And then what happened in Dark Knight Strikes Again, I don't know. But yeah, if Frank Miller upsets you that much, what can I say? I mean, I read Holy Terror, and I was expecting, oh, heard about this for years and been in the works for years. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't like, oh my god, how can I read this thing? It's just, I've read truly people trying to go out of their way to offend comics, and it doesn't really work on me. I mean, it can be offending. You can offend aesthetically. You can offend by not actually having a complete story, by half-assing things or just completely ripping things off. You can offend that way or attempt to. I mean, but it's at the end of the day, you are taking offense. No one is giving you offense. You are taking. You are choosing to let these Frank Miller covers bother you that much. How can Marvel do this? How can they do? Like, how can they screw over all these other artists? How can they? How can they like take the artists, put them in the stay in your box? The writer's the ones running the show now. But as long as Frank Miller's doing his own thing, he's got that the Frank Miller Presents going on, and he's doing Ronin 2, doing the layouts with Philip Tan doing the final art. I'm fine with that. Actually, that's a good combination. If you can't do the day-to-day work, get someone to embellish your work. Go off of your layouts, which I actually really love the layout for Ronin 2. But that's it. If you have any Frank Miller, thoughts, feelings, exclamations, or whatever, drop them in the comments. Thank you. Have a good one.